has finally come, and we are going to be adding decals to the Chevrolet Bison today. And these are the same decals that we used on our other ZR2 on the Duke. But today we're going to be adding to the Bison because we really like that look. But these ones are a little bit different. The other ones from the manufacturer that we got were dry application only. These ones say wet application only. So we are going to be doing a wet apply, and we're going to show you kind of how that works, because usually I do things that are dry apply only, and so this will be kind of fun. It should be pretty quick and easy because the decal will be able to be adjusted. We're just pushing water bubbles out. So we'll show you what we've done so far and then show you how to actually install these yourself. So the first thing I've done with the decals is I've actually laid them out kind of where I want them to go. I've also done a cut down on this other side here in the door that makes it where I can flex the door around and I can lay out the decals and do them in 2 different pieces. By the end, we'll have 3 different pieces, since we'll be going all the way to the rear fender flare. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is first kind of figure out where you want your decal. I recommend using some painter's tape to hold it up. And then once you get everything placed, you've done kind of your pre-cuts with your door, then you're going to remove the backing and spray. Since this is a wet application, you're still gonna wanna use your little squeegee device. You're gonna wanna have an X-Acto knife for this process as well, and a $1 spray bottle from Walmart that can be used anywhere in your house. Just fill it with just plain cold water. So nothing too hard for this install. So I am going to take off this first section of decal and then spray it and get it all lined up. The thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to spray the truck directly. And of course, this truck has been cleaned previously, so it is completely ready for this. If you do not have a clean vehicle, make sure to clean before you start this process, because otherwise the decal will not last. So this is the front part of our decal here. So we're just gonna peel, and it feels kind of wrong because I'm so used to dry application that I'm just kind of holding it up. But I'm gonna hold it up like this, and you're gonna add some water to the decal directly as well. Make sure it's nice and wet so that you can position this decal on the door. And we're just gonna do the whole thing. Just take that whole thing off. Look at that. Decal in all its glory. Nice and wet. I am going to line this with the bottom of my door, because that is where I want it to sit. And you might have to do this a few times just because getting it perfectly aligned takes a few tries. Okay, finally got the bottom where I want it to be. So now I'm gonna start working on pushing the decal into place. And just like with the dry method, you're gonna be working out these bubbles. And in this case, it's actually the water that's underneath the decal itself. You'll be able to see those. It's hard to show on camera just because everything just looks wet with this method. So I'm gonna work on getting these bubbles out before I move to the next section. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the next section, which will do the same technique, but it's gonna be a tiny bit different since we gotta align it with the other side of the decal. So something to note on this decal is you do have this option here where you can follow this body line. And if you don't like the straight look like we're doing, you can follow this body line, which will end up having that way up there. We prefer the straight look because it protects more from rock chips. Dry. So the next part You have to let it dry for about 45 minutes or so before you move this top coating and finish everything up. But the other side has been sitting for a while, so we're gonna go to that side to show you up how to finish up the process before you show you the final results of the truck. The first thing I'm gonna do is check for bubbles in here. And if I don't see any bubbles, then I'm going to start peeling off that top coat while making sure that the decals adhered properly.
Detail.
Are going to have to wait quite a while apparently for this wet application to dry. This has been sitting for the 45 minutes that they said it takes for it to adhere and do all the things. It is clearly not adhered yet. So if you are gonna do the wet application method, just know that it's kind of a hurry up and wait process. Kind of, you need to let the concrete dry. So we will be back, hopefully, when this is dry. For you, it's gonna be like 2 seconds from now, but for us, it's probably gonna be an hour or two before we can finish up this process. So we're gonna run to town and be back. So here in 2 seconds, you'll get to see it.
2 hours later.
We are back and we are gonna start peeling some of this. Some of this is still a little wet. It's been drying for almost an hour and 45 minutes at this point. So we are gonna start peeling some of it back carefully to see if we can help with some of that drying. As you can see, a lot of it is dry, but we do have a little bit of moisture around some of the edges. So we're gonna wanna be careful to make sure that those are properly adhered. But I think that this sticker at this point, because the humidity is a little bit higher today where we're at, might be holding some of it in. And that's always a chance you take when you do decals, is sometimes the moisture can be high when you do a little bit of this wet application. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this out to the edge, where at this point you can either tuck it on this corner here, which is hard to see, but this corner, or you can trim it. It's up to you on what you'd rather do. I prefer tucking it if I can, because it gives me a cleaner look on the edge of my decal overall. So this part is always fun when you have to connect the doors. Oops. And as you see, you gotta be careful because I just pulled off an end. Truck decals are on now and I'm going to show them to you. So there they are, and as you can see, they look super awesome. The truck is now looking like it should. So now we are no longer just a generic white bison on the internet. And then, as you can see, there is the passenger side. And these were, of course, done with the wet method. So there you have it.